All right, No Filter MMA family. This is your boy BJ back with another video short. What's going on, guys? So as I'm sitting here reading a very, very good article from my guys over at One Up MMA. Once again, if you haven't already, go follow those guys at oneupmma.com. And they shed light on, I think Taylor wrote this article. They shed light on Alexander Gustafsson versus Anthony Lionheart Smith, excuse me. I always say Anthony Johnson for some reason. I feel like Anthony Johnson coming back. Anthony Lionheart Smith. Okay. I've been seeing and hearing a lot about this fight coming up. This fight is this weekend, UFC Stockholm. The Monday Morning Analyst, he did I forgot his name. I'm not good with names. Luke Thomas. Yeah, that's his name, Luke Thomas. He covered this fight this morning, and he also had both guys on his show this morning. So I thought I would say my little piece. But I feel like, both of these guys are coming off of losses to John Jones. And guys, once again, go read this article. It's on oneupmma.com. I'll post the link in the description so you guys can catch that. But yeah, man, I just feel like they're both coming off the win, the losses to John Jones. I feel, even though Anthony Smith went 5 rounds with John Jones, I feel like Alexander Gustafsson has a better case, I just feel like overall Gus is probably the better fighter. Now, that doesn't take anything away from Anthony Smith, because Gus went 5 rounds with Jones too. You know what I'm saying? Gus went that distance with him too. So they both have been in the trenches with John Jones. The difference between the two fighters, the 3 fights with John Jones that these two guys have had, I feel like with Alex Gustafsson, I feel like Gustafsson, he went all the way to the end in both fights. Even though the first fight didn't last as long as, the second fight didn't last as long as the first fight. Gus fought the first fight with John Jones. He fought that fight all the way to the bell rung. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no stopping. Gus was determined to beat John Jones that night. And Gus, some people argue, arguably he did beat John Jones. A lot of people argue the case that Gus beat him the first time. And it was a very, very close fight. I think John may have edged him out just a little bit in the last couple of rounds, but, that was a hell of a fight to watch. That was one of the best fights in UFC history, I think. Now, with Anthony Smith, I feel like Anthony Smith, he had, in the earlier rounds, he had his moments. But I feel like he just, you don't really know what John Jones is going to throw at you. He can fake you with this and throw something completely different. And people, that can get to some people, that can get to some people. And I believe that got to Anthony Smith. I feel like Anthony Smith kind of shelled up, and Taylor talks about this in the article. Let's see. Yeah, he says both men's last fights were against John Jones. Both men took losses, but much different losses. Anthony Smith stood frozen and shelled for 25 minutes. After saying all the right things during the fight week, such as John Jones won't beat me before this fight. Also, a lot of guys get lost in there because they're fighting John Jones. Exactly. Good point, Taylor. Good fucking point. My dude is hitting it with the articles. Yes, good point. Yeah, man, I feel like, John Jones is very witty. Like, being witty goes all the way across the board with John Jones. Like, he's a witty person outside the gun, and he's a witty fucking fighter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he can beat you mentally without even trying to beat you. He wasn't engaging in a war in a verbal war with Anthony Smith. He wasn't doing any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? He was just being John Jones, being lackadaisical, laid back, funny, kiki, kaka, John Jones. That's what he was doing during fight week. He said his little things. He said little things about John Jones He didn't focus on John Jones the way he said little things about Anthony Smith, but he wasn't focused on Anthony Smith like he was. Like Anthony Smith was focused on him. Anthony Smith sounded like he was trying to convince himself that he wasn't going to get lost in there with John Jones, and that's exactly what he did. He got lost. And Anthony, I feel like Gus may be a little more technical than Anthony Smith. I feel like I feel like the losses to John Jones has taught these guys a lot. I feel like the John Jones losses I think it's taught Anthony Smith more than it taught Alexander Gustafsson. But the one thing that I heard Gus say, was if I'm not beating guys like Anthony Smith who are at the top of this division, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. So, and people are taking that as retirement. I don't think I think he may have hinted toward retirement, but I think the gist of what he was saying was, I should go in here and beat him. I've been at the top of this division for a long time, but it goes a little deeper than that. Anthony Smith, man, when Anthony Smith is on his shit, Anthony Smith is a dangerous motherfucker. When Anthony Smith is on his shit, he's a dangerous motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Smith can knock you the fuck out. Anthony Smith can knock you the fuck out. But I think Gus is the more technical. I think Anthony is the slugger. Which I've seen Anthony be technical sometimes, but I feel like Anthony Smith is more of like a slugger, versus Gus is more of a technical fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like when he stood in the pocket and boxed with John Jones, that was technical for your ass. So I feel like Gus is a little more technical. Gus is good at evading a lot of stuff. Not evading like Elias Theodorou. Now, I ain't talking about like that. But he's good at getting out of the way of an oncoming attack. A lot of things are gonna play into this fight. Who's gonna be the hammer? Who's gonna be the nail? You know what I'm saying? Who is gonna be in control of this fight? Especially if this fight gets up against the cage. That's fucking crazy. I feel like if they do clinch up, I feel like Anthony Smith has the advantage in strength. That's just how I feel. That may not be the truth. I feel like Anthony Smith has the advantage in strength and power. I feel like Gus is the type of fighter that will point fight you and go all day with you. 5 rounds, let's go. Gus is down. So I feel like, I don't think Gus can bedazzle Smith like John Jones did, but I feel like a technical person, a person who's really good and really technical, can beat Anthony Smith. Because when you coming from all different kinds of angles and stuff like that, Anthony Smith gets confused with that because he's a slugger. He's a slugger. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different. This is a very intriguing, very, very, very intriguing matchup. And I'm interested to see how it goes, guys. But anyways, this is your boy BJ back from No Filter MMA. Guys, let me know what you think about this fight. This fight is very interesting. Anyways, guys, drop those comments in the comment section. Hit the like button if you like what I was saying. Hit the dislike button if you don't like what I'm saying. Don't give a fuck. And if you haven't already, guys, hit that subscribe button. And I am out. And don't forget, guys, go check out oneupmma.com. I am out.